When Lila announced she was marrying Derek, her younger brother, Carter, went white as a ghost. Derek wasn't just any man, he was the one who made Carter's high school life a living nightmare. During the wedding, seemed to be going perfectly until they were about to give each other the yes word. Then Carter did something that left the entire room in shock, especially Lila. The morning of the wedding, Carter was feeling a mix of emotions. He was glad, almost proud even, that he was finally going to take revenge on Derek after all those years. He hated him for ruining his life in high school, and he had thought of the perfect way to get back at him. It was inevitable that his sister was going to be heartbroken. Carter just hoped she would see that he did the right thing, and she would be able to forgive him one day. Carter knew that it was now or never, and he stood up, yelling at Lila to wait, when he had something important to tell her. But what was Carter's revenge? What did he want to tell Lila, and how would she react to it? Before we start, smash the like button and make sure to subscribe if you haven't, and hit that notification bell so that you won't miss any new stories. Carter couldn't believe his eyes when he opened the door for Lila, and she was standing there with him, with Derek. The man who had made his life a hell for years. It had been so long, but he never forgot it. They were having dinner at their parents' house, and this would be the first time they got to meet her new boyfriend, who she had been very secretive about. He suddenly felt a rush of fury, and he stormed out of his room, into the living room, where he told his sister, "Do what you want, but I can tell you one thing for certain. You will regret this," and he walked out the front door. And he needed some fresh air. And during this walk, he came up with a perfect plan. Derek had made sure that years ago. He was very patient, and he waited until the wedding. The big day would be even bigger thanks to him. Finally, the day of the wedding arrived. Carter's whole family was very excited for Lila, and they had all kind of been avoiding Carter. He watched his sister, her face illuminated with happiness, and it tore him apart. And for every smile she flashed, he felt another pang of guilt. The joy of her big day was overshadowed by the secret he carried. How could he ruin her perfect day? Lila stood up, giving herself a final look. The gown fit her perfectly, accentuating her grace. Her reflection stared back, radiant and hopeful. She took a deep breath, ready to embark on this new journey. Stories were shared, memories reminisced, and future plans discussed. Lila and Derek sat hand in hand, their fingers intertwined, signaling the journey of two lives becoming one. In the shadowed corners of the venue, Carter sat, distanced from the merriment. The weight of his secret seemed even heavier now, with every passing moment amplifying his anxiety. Guests took their seats, straightened their outfits, and cleared their throats. The time for the union of two souls drew near, and every heart in the room synchronized with the ticking clock, waiting for the magic to unfold. Taking a deep breath, they began their walk together, a symbolic journey marking the end of one chapter and the beginning of another. Amidst the sea of onlookers, Derek took Lila's hand, causing a palpable hush to envelop the room. Everyone from friends to distant relatives felt the gravity of the moment. In front of these witnesses, Derek began, his voice unwavering, "I pledge." With each word, their souls intertwined a little more, knitting together the fabric of a lifetime. Lila, with grace and tears in her eyes, responded in a voice imbued with deep emotion. "With every sunrise and every sunset, we will face the world together." Their promises weren't merely a formality, they were painting a vivid picture of the years to come. Days filled with love, support, joy, nights of deep understanding, and countless moments of shared dreams and hopes. Their vows were an oath, a testament, echoes of a future that was destined to be. It was as if time itself had paused, suspended in this sacred moment. The universe, with bated breath, awaited the union of these two souls. The room's atmosphere, thick with anticipation, seemed to hold every heart in its grasp. With the gentle glow of the candles lighting her face, the officiant turned to Lila, inquiring about her affirmation. She had envisioned this very moment countless times, replaying it in the quiet corners of her mind. And with the weight of her decision resting firmly in her heart and the love she felt, she began to open her mouth, ready to voice her commitment. Before the first syllable could escape Lila's lips, a voice rang out, echoing in the cavernous space, shattering the serene atmosphere. Wait, Carter's plea, desperate and raw, echoed sharply in the stunned room. Every eye turned, faces marked by confusion and surprise. Carter, with a heavy heart and trembling hands, took a deep breath and stepped forward. "I owe it to my sister, to Derek, and to every single person here," he began, his voice choked with emotion, "to say what's been haunting me. Love isn't just about passion, it's also about understanding, patience, and most of all, truth. When two people promise each other forever, they deserve nothing but unwavering honesty. Loyalty isn't merely a feeling, it's an action. There are parts of our lives. Carter continued, his voice heavy with regret. That hide in the shadows, concealed from even those closest to us. He looked directly at Lila, his eyes filled with sorrow. Before you two embark on this beautiful journey, there are shadows from my past intertwined with yours. Lila sent that need to come to light. A murmur of curiosity and concern filled the room. Holding the diary with trembling hands, Carter turned to a bookmarked page, faded and clearly read multiple times. This entry, Carter began, his voice quivering, is from a day that altered the course of our lives. Every eye was on him, their attention rapt, as he began to read the handwritten words from his youth. As Carter read aloud, a vivid picture emerged. Derek, who we all now know as Lila's loving fiance, was once a different person in school. His voice broke slightly. He was the tormentor of my high school years. Carter detailed the relentless bullying he faced, the laughter, the humiliation, and the profound loneliness. But it wasn't just the physical pain, it was what he said about Lila that haunted me the most. One day, surrounded by his usual entourage, Derek mocked Lila's dreams and ambitions, calling them futile and childish. He even said Carter hesitated, clearly struggling with the weight of the revelation that she was the laughable, naive little sister of the school's biggest loser. A collective gasp filled the room as the weight of Derek's past words settled in. The gravity of Derek's past actions, especially concerning Lila, left many questioning their perception of him. Lila stood frozen, a myriad of emotions flashing across her face. Slowly, she turned to face Derek, searching his eyes for any sign of denial or remorse. With the room's full attention, Carter flipped the pages, arriving at another dated entry. Here. He began, his voice steadier, as where the depth of Derek's disdain for Lila truly came to light. Derek, in about a cruelty, had demeaned Lila's dreams, calling them childish fantasies and suggesting she'd always live in Carter's shadow. And with a face flushed from embarrassment and guilt, Derek finally found his voice. "It's not true," he exclaimed, his voice desperate. "High school was a different time. I've changed," he pleaded, looking around for any sign of support. But the clear evidence in Carter's diary made it difficult for anyone to easily accept Derek's words of denial. The murmurs grew louder. "I remember that day," he said one. "It was terrible how he treated the siblings," commented another. It was becoming clear that Carter's revelations were backed by a collective memory of Derek's past. Derek's facade crumbled, the weight of the past weighing heavily on his shoulders. "It's true," he whispered, his voice hoarse. "I was young, arrogant, and said things I deeply regret. I've changed, Lila, but I can't deny that those words were mine." The room fell silent, everyone absorbing the weight of his confession. Lila's face was a canvas of shattered dreams. With a deep breath, Lila stepped back from the altar. "I can't," she whispered. Louder for everyone to hear, she announced, "This wedding can't continue." The attendees gasped, a mix of shock and understanding evident in their expressions. After the initial shock subsided, Lila found herself confronting Carter. Why now, she demanded, her eyes flashing with anger. But as Carter explained his protective instincts, the love he held for his sister, her anger began to wane. "You should have told me," she whispered, but deep down she understood. Carter had wrestled with his loyalty love in the haunting past, hoping to shield her until the very end. As guests began to depart, the venue was filled with a thick atmosphere of uncertainty. Relationships, once thought unbreakable, now stood on shaky ground. Lila and Derek, once inseparable, now faced an uncertain future while Carter grappled with the repercussions of his revelation. And yet amidst the chaos, one thing was certain: family ties, tested and strained, remained unbroken, paving a path towards healing and redemption.